Good evening, everybody. As I hold on to my chair for dear life because I am in a windstorm, I am Mr. Knast. Joining me tonight is
Ron. Hey, was that a cow?
I don't know. I mean, welcome in, everybody. It's an awfully windy night here in the South Jersey area. We are holding on for dear life. We are hoping the power stays on, the Wi-Fi stays connected, but we're going to try to push on and have some fun anyway. That's why we're putting some jokes out there right away because it is awfully windy out there tonight. So
Yes, it is.
I'd rather be sitting in a nice stable house than being out on the road. I was driving home earlier and it was treacherous and hell. So
Well, at
I'm
least
sure
you're in
you
a basement. You're actually going to be in better shape should there be
that
an
is
issue.
true. That is true. Mom, I'm in my safe spot in case of a tornado, I promise.
Yeah.
My mom would be proud of me. I'm grown up. What a baby
Yeah.
boy.
By the way, just because I have this platform, I just have something to say. And I'm sure it doesn't apply to anybody who would be viewing us right now. Okay. Every time that there is a weather related issue similar to this, where there are tornado warnings, etc., there's extreme weather in other parts, I am disgusted and furious at the fact that people, for some reason on social media, feel the need to take footage of disasters from the past and represent them as current day situation. There are people on social media posting tornado footage that they're saying is happening now in Florida. And I will say in one particular video, I noticed there was a shark in the tornado. They are lifting footage from movies. They are lifting footage from disasters that took place over in another country. It is appalling to me that some people are terrified as it is. And if they have family in Florida, which I do, I think it's that they're trying to, put fear in people by representing that the situation is so much more grave than it actually is. And I just wanted to come out and say my little 2 cents on that, because every time it happens, I get more and more pissed off about it.
I can understand that. I mean, there's no need to joke about national weather, especially natural disasters that affect millions and millions of people who to have a sense of humor or a joke about it. I mean, it's not definitely not one to play about. You need to take warnings and all that very, very seriously. I mean, I know right now in New Jersey, as of 5 p.m. today, was issued a state of emergency. So I mean, yeah, you have to heal to these warnings seriously, and if you think it is a joke, then I mean, shame on
Well,
you.
but they're not even representing it as a joke. They're representing it as this is what's happened in Florida today.
Yeah.
That's what I have a problem with. If you're joking about it, I'm not saying nobody can make a joke. Okay. But if somebody's got, in my case, my father, you know, um, in Florida, and I'm seeing videos of this devastation, and I find out it's from the Honduras from 30 years ago, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, well, it makes your heart sink, especially if you haven't heard from a person that you know that lives down there. You think the worst. I
Right.
can understand that. So I mean, yeah, I mean,
So I'm off my soapbox now for now. I reserve the right to step back up in a little bit
Yep, you
on
got
a
it. No
different
problem.
topic.
You got it. But no, you're right. I mean, people are cool, and joke around and something like that. It's not something you should do. So I agree with you 100%. So should I fire you up some more? Let's see. Well, we had another dismal dismal performance this Sunday, if that's a nice way to put it.
I don't.
Embarrassing.
I don't even think dismal covers it.
Embar-
Embarrassing.
Yeah, I would. Embarrassing,
Uh,
disgraceful.
Demoralizing. Disgraceful. Disgusting. I don't know. You could. There's about 20 other adjectives that I probably uttered at some point, but um,
Evening,
yeah.
Bill.
Hey, Bill.
But yeah, I mean, I was at work, so I actually for once got a message from my dad, who never really texts me while I'm at work, or on Sundays with football if I'm not watching with him. And all he flat out said is, "We suck. You should be lucky you're working." That's all he said.
Yeah. Well, and
I
that
mean,
would be accurate. That would be accurate.
I still
Uh,
listen to the
both
game, but I turned it off.
uh, more and more. Um, it looks like the you know move that appeared to be a panic move with the removal of Desai and plugging in Matt Patricia um,
Yep.
really actually made it worse instead of better. I mean, you've got you know factions in the locker room. You've got people that are indirectly speaking out against the play calling. You got um, so many things going on that are distractions. I mean, okay, right now everybody's 0-0. Okay, we're starting out with Tampa Bay. Does Baker Mayfield strike fear in my heart? He didn't used to. I mean, just like this past week, did Tyrod Taylor strike fear in my heart? Absolutely not. But look better than what they are because you know you got an offense not clicking. You have an offensive coordinator that's vanilla. You're a very predictable offense. You quarterback who's prone to hero ball, and now he has a problem with his finger. It's not broken. He is going to play, but in discomfort. Okay?
Yeah.
You've got AJ Brown, who could potentially be out. You got Devontae Smith, who could potentially be out. DeAndre Swift should be back, but you know, there's just a lot of things going against us going into this situation where after the first 11 weeks, none of this would have been even a thought in anybody's head. But we put ourselves in this situation, and we are the ones that are going to have to fight our ways out if there's going to be any hope whatsoever at this point.
That's true. Jason check. Good evening. Who's ready to put some wild card football? I think the team gave up on the coaches decided Patricia both available. My honest opinion. And Jay's like, I honestly low key think Tampa might edge out Philly if Philly don't get it together. And that is going to be the statement of the weekend. Can the Eagles come together for an important
Yeah.
game that is win or go home? Because if not, Jay's right. Tampa Bay could edge us out.
Yeah.
And
Well,
then,
but you got to realize that Patricia didn't change the defense. All Patricia did is took over calling the actual plays. The defensive scheme itself is still the size defense.
yeah.
There's no way they could put a whole new defense in a week.
So
So, it's like having a junk car and say, okay, well, you drive it, it'll be better. It's still a junk car. It's just somebody else is behind the wheel.
I just don't understand what make changing a play call makes any sense. But because you can see a better perspective of the field up in the coach's box compared to being on the sideline. That doesn't make sense. But
No, I mean, I think Desai is already fired, but they just didn't want to fire him in mid-season. They'll wait to the end of the year because when there's not so much focus on the team, it's easier to do.
that's true.
I
And Jay's.
think. Uh,
No, I was just reading the comment. You're good.
yeah, but I think that there's depending on what happens, is going to depend on the level of upheaval that's going to happen over the course of the off season. Myself
Mm-hmm.
personally, Jalen's buddy or not, I think our offensive coordinator is going to be finding the door too.
Yeah.
I think they need to start, and I don't know that Lurie and Howie would ditch Sirianni after this debacle, but if they go whimpering in the first round, I mean, he did let Doug. I don't think he'll hesitate to pull the trigger. Like, it's the right thing to do.
No, I agree. I mean, that was one of the questions I asked somebody I work with today. If both Dallas and Philly lose in the first round, who would be more opportune to get fired? Would it be Mike McCarthy or Nick Sirianni? And he is, without hesitation, said Mike McCarthy. But I said, yeah, but you also got to think Nick Sirianni is being held to a higher standard as well. So
Yeah, and the expectations were higher, especially after the first 11 weeks.
that is true.
That's and McCarthy for some reason seems to have 9 lives. And I mean, it's typical of Dallas coaches. I mean, for last 26 years, they've been riddled with failure, but yet coaches are rarely fired because Jerry Jones can't hire a Jimmy Johnson type because he doesn't want anybody going up against him. He just wants somebody who's a figurehead, and Jerry Jones calls the shots.
Not too much longer.
I mean,
I get
look at guys like Barry Switzer. How long was he around?
very squish. I think he was at least 6, 7 years. Let's see.
And he was horrible, but he had talent.
Yeah.
Now here, McCarthy's got talent, but he chokes. He chokes up every time when there's big games, and he can't win on the road. And guess what? They ain't got the 1 seed, so they're going on the road.
That is true. He was with the Dallas Cowboys 1994 to 1997.
Yeah.
Jay says this weekend, wildcard weekend is going to be wild and fun, exciting to watch. I agree with that. Bill says Nick, both OC and DC need to go, so he's cleaning house completely. And then Jay is a Texans fan. He says, I think we beat Cleveland, but Baltimore, if we beat Cleveland, we will be a tough task to contain Lamar. So Houston's got the work cut out for him, that is for sure. But I am very happy to see them make the playoffs. CJ Stroud, as a rookie, has proved he should have been the number 1 overall pick. He's making Carolina look stupid for taking Bryce Young.
Yeah.
I mean,
but Jay, Lamar hasn't proved that he can do it in the playoffs yet.
that is
I mean,
true.
Flacco won a Super Bowl. Lamar hasn't. Lamar, won 1 playoff game?
I think so, yeah.
If one.
I mean, that'd be a heck of a storyline. Joe Flacco versus his former team in the playoffs. Oh man.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, he's got something to prove, Lamar does. I mean, he's in line for this MVP.
True.
But
Lamar is 1-3 in the playoffs. But go ahead.
yeah, he's got 1 win. And 2 really bad losses and 1 loss.
Yeah, I mean, in his only game he did win, he was only 17 of 24 for 179 yards, no touchdowns, and one interception. So that's not even a great game.
No, wasn't because of him. It's because of their defense.
Yep. So that's definitely a game I'm excited to see this weekend. Is definitely Cleveland versus Houston. I think that has potential to be one of the highlights of the weekend, and I'm also very looking forward to the LA Rams going to Detroit.
Yeah,
I think that game's going to be fireworks.
it should be. How
You
about
you
that?
would
How
hope
about
so.
that flash of? How about that flash of Carson Wentz this past week
Yeah, I
for
mean,
the Rams?
like,
Looking like Carson of old there for a couple plays.
yeah, I was just blown away because they were down, and then all of a sudden I look at the scoreboard and they won. I was like, wait, what?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm gonna pull up the box score real quick so I have his exact numbers. But for coming off the street, 17 to 24, 163, two touchdowns, one interception. But then he had 17 rush attempts for 56
Hmm.
yards and a touchdown. So he accounted for all three of their touchdowns.
Yep.
Is this
And with
new?
Stafford with an injury history, you know, if they keep Carson on as the backup, it could be interesting.
Yeah, because right now he's only on that 1 year deal. I don't know what he got paid this year. I'm kind of curious about that.
It was prorated. It was only, he probably less than $1 million because he only
Carson
paid him for
Wentz.
2 games. Yeah. And
Huh?
then he probably has incentives for the playoffs, but he's not going to play in the playoffs
That's true.
unless Stafford get hurt.
So Carson Wentz signed a 1 year, $1.3 million contract with the Rams, including a $150,000 signing bonus. $150,000 was guaranteed, and then so he'll earn a base of $1.1 million.
Yep.
While counting, he has a cap hit of 620,000.
Yeah.
Chump change.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, he's probably still living off the Philadelphia money,
Yeah, I'm sure.
but I mean, I saw the highlight. It was pretty impressive. I mean, he threw a touchdown pass to your boy Puka Nacua. I know you were excited about that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Puka ended up with the single season rookie receiving record.
Yeah, who would have thought? That's pretty awesome. I mean,
I know somebody who would have thought. The person who
Puka.
picked him up on the waiver wire
There
before
you
he
go.
hit the week before he exploded. Everybody went, "Who's this Puka thing? What's this? I never heard of this guy." I said, "You will."
Yep. And because AJ Brown got hurt, he actually wound up finishing more receiving yards than AJ Brown even.
Yeah.
Puka finished with 1,486, but AJ Brown, since he got hurt, only finished with 1,456
Yeah.
on 105 receptions. That's pretty damn good. Good for a rookie. I think he was like a fourth round pick too.
Yep. I forget where he went to school though.
I can tell you one second. Puka went to BYU.
Okay.
I mean, we had a discussion a couple weeks ago that not many people have come from BYU and had a successful NFL career. Is this a
That's
turn of
true.
is this a turn of relief? But I mean, is Puka gonna pull the
Uh,
BYU Mormon back into the map?
Even a blind squirrel finds an acorn once in a while. That's all I got
I
to
do.
say.
I'm still looking for mine, but since you want to brag about your waiver wire wide receiver, I'm gonna brag about my top two: Tyreek Hill and CD Lamb. Yes, they play for the Miami Dolphins and the Dallas Cowboys, but they were number 1 and 2 in receiving yards this year for the NFL.
Mhm.
So,
Fair
but
enough.
I'm gonna save my basking glory for later.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm sure we'll get to that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have what I was hoping to get because of the weather. I didn't stop, but I was hoping to get one thing. I'll explain it later.
Okay.
But let's see, full scoreboard. I mean, since we brought up the Texans, my other thing I would say about that same division, what happened to the Jacksonville Jaguars?
I don't think Trevor's 100%. I think he was still playing hurt down the stretch. They brought him back, but only because they didn't have a better option as a backup. That he tried to fight his way through it, and I just don't think he had the firepower to get it done.
Yeah, I
But
don't get it.
Jacksonville did let go of all their coaches except for Peterson.
Offensive too?
They fired the whole staff.
Wow. I had read the one day I did see that they let like Mike Caldwell go and like 4 or 5 other defensive assistants. But I hadn't
Yep.
heard the offense, so that's news to me.
Yep. Both sides of the ball.
Dang.
Doug starts from scratch,
I
which
can,
is kind of makes sense because remember the reason he left Philadelphia was because he wanted to put his own coaches in place, and Howie and Jeff said no. And that was all over Mike Groh, mainly.
Mike Rowe
Um,
and Press Taylor.
yeah. So they said, okay, well, we'll just part ways. And then he went to Jacksonville and he inherited some coaches. And I think this is the stage where Jacksonville says, okay, um, you can have your own coaches, but this is doing time. You don't make the playoffs next year, then you're done.
Yeah, because the
But
cut.
you can hire your own staff. Boom, we'll wipe the plate clean. Hire your staff.
Yeah, I mean, let's see. I have it right here. It says they definitely announced that they fired Mike Caldwell, and in addition, fired Benson Buckner, who I didn't know was a uh, defensive line coach already. He played many years in Carolina. Deshaun Townsend, another former cornerback in the league with Pittsburgh many years ago. Tony Gilbert, Cody Grime, Bob Sutton, T. Mitchell, Sean Kufner, Roy Sages. Well, no. And then he kept 3 coaches on the defensive side of the ball. Then he also made some offensive staff changes, firing his running backs coach and not renewing the contract of the assistant line coach. So, I mean, that is basically cleaning house.
Yeah.
I mean, that was the news I saw yesterday, and then I got the news today. We're stick in the same division. The Tennessee Titans decided to move on from Mike Rabel,
Yeah, that was
which
a
kind of
little bit of a
surprised
shock
because
there.
there's an article that they decided they were had persuaded and maybe trading him. Like you can now trade coaches left and right apparently,
Mm-hmm.
but they decided against that and just outright fire him and terminate him. So, I
Yeah.
mean,
So
eh,
what's the head count? What's the head count so far? So we got Atlanta's coach,
yep, Arthur Smith. He was fired midnight on
Arthur
Sunday.
Smith. He was first,
Yep,
right? And then you got Vrabel, and you
Ron
got
Rivera.
Rivera, and I thought there was one more.
6 jobs open up. Arthur Smith, Ron Rivera. Let's see. Hold on. Well, Vegas is going to need a coach unless they tag Antonio Pierce.
Yeah.
So you have the Panthers so far with Frank Reich, but they didn't waste any time. They did that in season. The Las Vegas
Yeah.
Raiders, Chargers, Falcons, Commanders, and Titans.
Yeah. Okay. So it was 6 altogether.
Where does Vrabel go? That is a great question. Because you got to ask yourself, is he going to get another head coaching opportunity? Or does he just become a defensive coordinator at this point?
Well, I think he did a pretty good job as a head coach. I mean, with what he had to work with.
True. I mean, 54 and 45 record. and what 2-3 in postseason games. It's not terrible. It's not the worst.
I mean, is Rabel the kind of guy that you put into a situation like Carolina?
Ooh. I mean, if you're looking to do a complete rebuild, absolutely. You'll be bringing a young coach, you groom the young quarterback together. Sure, I can see that. Because you think about it, Vrabel, he went to Tennessee, he had like Ryan Tannehill. Then they
Yeah.
drafted these two players. So then
I
the
mean,
follow
hey,
up question,
if Rabel lands, say he lands in Carolina, who's to say Tannehill doesn't sign Carolina?
that is true. I mean, they're going to need a backup behind Young and someone to mentor Young. Tannehill is not obviously not a starter much anymore. He could be.
No, but he
He's like,
knows the system inside and out. He'd be the perfect guy to mentor a young quarterback.
that is true. I mean, yeah, I mean that could be a good pairing. I mean, Carolina is definitely an option. We know he's not going to go to Washington because
No.
Washington's going to promote the enemy, even though he want to talk to Bill Belichick.
Yeah. Oh, I just heard a report just a couple hours ago. It said that there's a possibility that Josh McDaniel is reunited with Belichick and they stay in New England. And
Surprise, surprise, surprise.
McDaniel becomes a associate coach and offensive coordinator.
Just like the old days.
But they hire a general manager.
Yeah,
Like
and it takes pressure off
Belichick
Bill.
Belichick relinquishes his GM responsibilities.
I mean, that could be good and that could be bad. I mean, it really depends on how you look at it. I mean, sometimes a coach, as a GM and head coach, puts a lot of pressure on that said coach. And Belichick's been doing it now for what, 10
Yeah.
years?
Well, Andy Reid did it for a long time too.
True. I mean, I respect Bill Belichick, but do I see him sticking out a full rebuild up there? No. 'Cause that's what the Pacers are going to be. They're going to be a complete rebuild because chances are they're not going to bring back Mac Jones. They're going to deny that fifth year option. They're going to go
Yeah.
out quarterback drafting this year.
Yeah.
So, unless you can strike gold and find another Tom Brady, I mean, is the Michigan kid coming out in the draft this year? Do you wait till the sixth round to draft them again? JJ McCarthy? Who knows?
Oh, jeez.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
I'm definitely intrigued though because that would take Josh McDaniels off the board as a head coach. So then, like, who winds up with Vegas, or do they take the interim tag off Antonio Pierce and make him an everyday head coach?
Uh, that's what should happen. Now, whether that's what's going to happen, it remains to be seen. But if the players have anything to say about it, then Pierce is going to be the coach.
Yeah.
So it
Because
depends on how much the management wants to listen to the players.
I did see a report also that Mark Davis was going to try to reach out to a certain somebody and try to pry him away from the college game. Do I think it happens? No. Is that coach have NFL experience? Yes. Is that coach Jim Harbaugh? Yes.
Harbaugh?
Apparently, he's a hot commodity.
Yeah. Well, he's a hot commodity because everybody assumes that the hammer is going to fall on him from the NCAA now that the championship's over
Well,
because of the ongoing investigation.
okay, so here's my question. And I'm being kind of serious, kind of funny in a sense. If he comes back to the NFL, does he bring the sign stealer with him? Do we have a Spygate 2.0 in Las Vegas now?
Yeah. But here's the thing.
It was
Is it
never really
really
confirmed.
sign stealing?
No,
Does
I don't
every
think it is.
team? Yes. Were they just trying to pick a high profile program so that they could make an example and try and scare other people into line? Absolutely yes. The NCAA is one of the more diabolical organizations there is when it comes to crooked view of sports. I think there's more potential for crookedness from the NCAA than there is from any team.
Fair enough. I mean, yeah, NCAA does try to, I would say, yes, be more nip tuck about stuff than some other major sports. So, I mean, that does make sense.
They micromanage to a fault,
Yeah,
if that makes any sense.
that most people would probably would be. I gotta think about it a little bit because I'm not the smartest. But all right, but I don't know. It's definitely an intriguing job for Vegas. And then another one that's really interesting in my eyes would be the LA Chargers.
Yeah.
Because now you have that young quarterback that you just paid, Justin Hubert. He's not going anywhere. You have to decide what you're going to do with Austin Eckler. I mean, could that be a possible fit again for Mike Vrabel or something, who's known to like powerhouse running backs? Could they possibly bring in a Vrabel, sign Eckler to a long term contract, and he be the next Derrick Henry?
Uh, could be.
I
I
mean,
mean, to me, you know, I think the Chargers, if you really think about it, they went from an OG kind of coach to the young buck,
mm-hmm.
and the young buck didn't work out. You know, I'm thinking maybe they're thinking maybe we should go back towards somebody with a little bit of coaching experience rather than keep on trying to fit the square peg in the round hole, so to speak.
No, that makes so you're saying that they do better with a more seasoned coach than these younger coaches.
For the style of play that they have, which is one of the, you know, they could very easily be run centric,
Yeah.
with the quality of running back that you have in Eckler. You know, um, I think that you need to have a lot of these newer coaches were brought up in, almost 100% pass environment. When you go back to the guys that have been around a while, that old school mentality of, winning the game in the trenches is a lot different than the young guys who's, big play, big play, big play.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. Because the Chargers have a decent defensive line. They definitely have, I think, an underrated offensive line. So,
Right.
like you said, the game's going to be won in the trenches. So then you maybe possibly bring in a coach like a Ron Rivera.
Yeah, I don't know if it would be Rivera. I think Rivera is going to have a problem getting another job. But a guy like Rivera, a guy who's been around.
Yeah, because a lot of people
You know,
think Rivera's going to be like a DC somewhere.
yeah, that would be the more likely scenario. I think his head coaching days are over. My
Fair enough.
opinion. Yeah.
I
But that
mean,
type of
and
guy is the guy that they should be looking at for the Chargers.
well, there's one guy I could think of off the top of my head, but I don't think he leaves his current team. I think he would be full. And that'd be the Kansas City Chiefs defensive coordinator, Steve Spagnuolo.
Yeah.
Could he get back into a head coaching gig within the division? That's why I
No.
don't see it happening because I don't think KC's going to let him walk,
No.
especially the division team.
For as much as they did for Bieniemy all those years, every time it looked like he might walk, they just kept on, priming the pump and priming the pump to make sure that he stayed put. And I think that Reed would do the same thing for Spagnuolo.
Yeah, I mean, it's still on. You can't really predict these just yet because the season's
No.
still going for one. So I mean, it's really hard.
Yeah.
Is it good to get some names out there? Absolutely, but none of these jobs are going to be filled till before the draft. We all know that.
Yeah, you're right.
Unless, like I said, unless you're a Las Vegas Raiders team who decides to take off the interim tag and go forward in Antonio Pierce, that's a whole different story.
Yeah.
But like, I don't
And
see
I
any of
think
these.
that I definitely
Yeah,
think that that's going to go really far with their players if they do that.
oh yeah, it would show that continuity, as they call it, in the locker room. It would
Yeah.
get that bond stronger
Yep.
because they played some pretty good football after they fired Josh McDaniel.
They
I
did.
mean, do they have some stuff to clean up? Sure, but now you give someone a full season as your head coach, and you said, "Hey, you finished here. We want you to take that up the next level next year. And then we're gonna go from there because they're gonna buy out Jimmy G. It's obvious.
Yeah.
Garoppolo's done in Vegas.
Yeah.
Right. They're gonna go with Aiden O'Connor, and then they probably bring in like a veteran quarterback, who knows who, as their backup. Maybe a Ryan
Yeah.
Tannehill winds up in Las Vegas. Hey, we'll give you $5 million. Sit on the bench. You mentor O'Connor for us. Be our number two, and you get to party in Vegas all season.
Yeah.
Pretty
Yeah.
intriguing.
Yeah. For sure.
But yeah, so the head coaches, I would wait and maybe come back to that down the road because I think there are still going to be more who are let go.
And you'll
And
see
then,
the names if they come to the forefront when once it gets to be closer to the Super Bowl, and once the Super Bowl's over and people can actually interview.
yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, well, unless you're the Arizona Cardinals, they're interviewing people before that.
Yeah,
Hey,
because
Jonathan
they're not
Gannon, you want to become a
because
head
they're
coach?
not going to, yeah. Well, that's a whole nother nightmare for another day.
But no, I definitely want to go back and do the coaching carousel if it's okay with you down the road.
Yeah, for sure.
'Cause I think there's going to be a lot more changes still to come. Granted, it's only 9:45 on a Tuesday night, the day after Black Monday. I still think you're going to see four teams relieve coaches of duties, and then some of these wild card teams who have that aspiration of taking that next step. If they get shellacked in the first round, you might see more changes out of those teams too.
Possibly.
I mean, I said Dallas. I believe if Mike McCarthy loses to Green Bay this coming Sunday, he's on the chopping block. I'm sorry. I know Cowboys fans would probably disagree with that, but
Yeah.
Jerry Jones set, like you said earlier, he sets such a high standard on winning. You have the team in place right now to make these runs, but you can't
Yeah.
find that coach to get you over that hump.
Yep. Well, because you can't have both. That's the problem. Jerry Jones and his philosophy over quite a long period of time now has been, you know, I call the shots. You know, I mean, when an owner's roaming around the sideline in the fourth quarter, that's not a good sign.
No.
So the fact that he insists on having somebody who is accepting to his level of interference is the most vital quality that he seeks out in a coach, which is why he's never going to take a frontline coach from a frontline team. He may take a guy who's on the back end, like McCarthy was,
Hmm.
after he got let go in Green Bay. You know, a guy that's willing to say, okay, we'll make you the head coach, but, you know, you got to understand that I'm going to have say in what goes on around here. And
Oh,
if you're okay
absolutely.
with that, then I'm going to hire you and I'm going to pay you.
Hey, and that he does. He does pay his coaches a pretty penny.
Yeah, because they that money to accept that job to realize that they don't actually have 100% of the job.
That is true. I mean, I'm looking at his Wikipedia right now. Like he's the only person in his position that I see owner, president, and general manager all on the same title.
Mm-hmm.
You don't normally see that nowadays in this style of NFL. Yeah, sure, you're the
No.
owner, but we have a separate president and GM. But the fact that he's all three, wow.
But
But now,
once he passes the team over to his son, then that'll probably change.
yeah, and you read my mind because that was going to be my next question to you and the people who are listening in chat if they want to chime in on this too. Jerry Jones turned 81 this past October.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you can definitely sometimes see his age showing.
Yep.
How much longer does he hold on to the brass at the top before he does give it over to Steven? I said 5 to 10 years, 5 being modest.
I have a different estimate
Okay.
when they put the nail in the box. He will never give up control of that team until he passes or becomes
Wow.
so ill that he can't function. His ego won't allow it.
Fair enough. Evening, Matt. Nice to see you.
Hey, Matt.
Wow. Huh. So they put the nail in the box. So
Even though it's his son, that he's passing it to, it'll be different if he was like turning it over to somebody else. But he's actually just turning it over to his son. But he will never, ever willingly step out of that because then the cameras stop.
yeah. I mean, good way to put it. So you're calling him an Al Davis 2.0. Essentially.
Absolutely.
Because Mark Davis is, yeah. Let's see. No, let's see. I'm curious.
And Al was pulling the strings and
Huh?
even at his advanced age.
Yeah. Now, this is an estimate as of Sunday. Jerry Jones's net worth is $13.84 billion.
Yep.
Now, this is gonna
Pretty
sound modest.
amazing.
I'm gonna put a bold statement out there. So if anyone's a Cowboys fan or knows any Cowboys fans, please let me know. I will take this hat off. Hey Jerry, you got any single daughters? Just saying. I'll become a Dallas Cowboys fan to marry that. Holy shit. Sign me up. $13.8 billion. Oh my god. $1 billion.
Yep. Yeah.
Because now the question is, how old is his son? Stephen Jones is, let's see, Wikipedia. Stephen Jones is 59. So
Okay.
yeah, hope say he takes it over when he's about 65, 70. He's not gonna have much longer. So then it gets passed
No.
down again.
Yeah, pretty much. No speed dating with billionaires. Stick with the Russian brides.
That's what she just said. I guess she tuned in at that point. Oh, great. I'll hear
Perfect
all
timing.
about that at the bottom. Well, they've been joking with me about getting me a mail ordered bride. So she must have walked in when I was saying all that. Evening, Shannon. Thanks for popping in. That I don't know. I mean, now I'm going to turn red in the face. I'm going to need a moment to compose myself. Okay, I'm better now. Because then he has a sister, Charlotte Jones Anderson, who is 57. So both Joneses kids aren't that young. So I mean, hey, you have a daughter or something? Hook the man up. I'll be nice. I promise. I won't take that much money. Man, I can't believe she walked right in on that. I set myself up for
Yeah,
that.
you did.
Dun dun dun. I would hit the sad trombone, but I want to blow people's ear out. So, but yeah, Is there any other games this past weekend that you want to mention?
Um, well, let's see. Um, I mean, there were a couple of big games. I mean, there were some entertaining games, but overall, I think Green Bay is pretty impressive right now.
Yeah.
I like them going in. I think Jordan Love has proven himself over the course of the last few weeks. His confidence is at an all-time high. So I think that there's, he's a quarterback, a young quarterback, in true Green Bay tradition, who, sat behind somebody and now is getting his chance and taking advantage of it.
Yeah, I mean, his numbers from this past Sunday prove it. 27 to 32 for 316 yards and 2 touchdowns. That's a
Yep.
great fucking day.
With not great receivers.
Yeah, because
I mean,
Christian Watson's still out, and then the other
Watson was
guy.
hurt. You had Dobbs, and you got a couple other, other guys. I mean, imagine if they had, Jordan Love throwing to Amari Cooper or throwing to, some of these guys that are going to be, Devontae Adams, who's probably going to find his way out of Vegas.
Yeah,
What if Adams comes back to Green Bay?
that could be a good new connection. Yeah.
I mean, that
Right.
automatically makes them a force to be reckoned with.
That is true, especially if you can keep Aaron Jones healthy, because this was the first game he
Yeah.
was healthy in a while. 22 carries, 111 yards was rushing, and then 5 receptions for 30 yards. So that's 27 total touches for over 140 yards.
Yep.
That Aaron Jones means more to the Packers than people think.
Yeah. And I mean, and when he wasn't in there, they felt it. But, Jordan was able to pick up the slack with, whatever he had to work with.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. I mean, a game that stuck out to me also is the Detroit Lions Minnesota game. A little bit.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the only reason I say that is because Detroit really didn't have much to play for. Yeah,
True.
they could maybe backdoor it into the 2 seed if they got a help with the Dallas loss. But with Dallas needing to win and Philly needing to lose, everybody knew Dallas was going to go ball out versus Washington. So Detroit essentially was
And then
locked in the
Laporta
3
gets
seed.
hurt.
That's what I was going to say. You lose your almost like second leading receiver on this team, and your rookie tight end Sam Laporta. With I don't know how seriously he's hurt, but
He's day to day.
like, why take a chance and start like your key players in a game that pretty much means nothing?
Yeah.
Detroit Lions tight end has outside shot for playoff games. So
Yeah. They might
I
hold
mean,
him out of this first game.
but who's to say this isn't your only game though?
Well, in their mind, they don't think it's going to be their only game.
Campbell did not offer a specific diagnosis, but said the next 48 hours will be key to his availability for the weekend. The Porter's got an outside shot, so we'll see. In 48 hours, we're going to know a lot with him, but he's got an outside shot.
Sounds about right.
I mean,
That's similar to what I read as well.
it just sucks, though, to see someone as good as Laporta was having to get hurt in a game like this.
Yeah.
Sure, like, you want to keep that momentum going, stuff like that. I get that, but like Cleveland Browns, they sat everybody this week.
True.
Well,
But
that's good. Go ahead.
one thing I'll give them credit for is they benched Flacco. Okay. But because of the way his contract was structured, he pretty much got compensated per game. Okay. So they actually did some magic with the contract and paid him what he would have earned for playing in that 18th game, in that 18-week game.
Yeah, they converted like a bonus to like a signing bonus, which was like $750,000 or something.
Correct.
So
So that they made him whole for, asking him to sit down in the middle of all this.
yeah, Matt's right. Free too. Easy way to put it, Matt. Free money.
Yeah.
I mean, shit. You're gonna sign me to a prorated deal, but you're gonna hold me out. Hey, I'll take the free money if I want to play. I'll take 750,000.
Yep.
I'm available. So I mean, that like I said though, that game's gonna be one of my more intriguing matchups this weekend to watch. Is gonna be that
Well,
Cleveland Houston game.
well, the strange thing is, and here's what I'll call the strange thing. The game that almost universally all the national people are saying is the worst game of the week, they've put on prime time on Monday night.
Yeah. What sense does that make?
All these talking heads are saying the worst game is going to be Tampa and Philly. But hey, we're putting on prime time on Monday night.
Yeah.
Doesn't make any sense to me.
What also doesn't make sense to me is why you're going to put a marquee matchup on Peacock streaming services only.
Well, I have bad news for you.
Hmm.
The Super Bowl is on Peacock.
Only Peacock?
Exclusively.
Oh, you tell people that, they're going to be raving and pissed.
Well, get ready because it's coming.
Wow.
It's already in the commercials if you pay attention. If you watch during the NFL games, watch the commercials where they talk about Peacock, and they said the Super Bowl's on Peacock.
I might have missed that. Oh boy. If the fireworks begin, that's going to cause a shitstorm.
Yep. Well, the thing is, as far as the playoffs are concerned, there is a clause in the NFL contracts, in the TV contracts, that if there's a game and your home team is involved and it's available streaming only, that it will also be offered on a broadcast channel in that market.
No, that's good. 'Cause I was saying that the other day. Like, how are you going to put a game like that on a streaming service and lose all that hometown revenue? Because people go after the bars like that. Most bars don't have Peacock.
Right.
I mean, sure,
but
you
yeah,
can get
that's a clause in the contract that if our game was going to be exclusive to Peacock, it would also be on like Channel 10.
Good to know. Because you got that game Saturday night, then you got the 3 games Sunday, and like you said, the Eagles in Tampa Bay on Monday night.
Well, let's
Which
go
oddly
game to
enough,
game. Let's go game to game.
all right. Well, kicking off Wild Card Weekend, you have the Cleveland Browns traveling to Houston. You have 11-6 versus 10-7.
Okay. I'm jotting. We should jot down picks.
I can do that.
So Cleveland and Houston, right?
Yep. Go ahead. I'm listening.
Okay. Well, as much as I like the story, the Cinderella story of Cleveland and the Joe Flacco angle, the pride of Audubon. CJ Stroud and D'Amico Ryans, I think that they're destined for a little bit of greatness. I personally think that this is their game to lose, but I think that they have the firepower and the momentum to take Cleveland down in this spot.
I'm good with Houston.
Yes.
All right, good analogy. I will say these two teams have played once already this season, but they were two completely different teams many weeks ago. I
Right.
mean, Flacco. Who would have thought Joe Flacco would step in and put up the number he's put up, which is absolutely
True.
incredible.
Mm-hmm.
But like, who would also thinks G.J. Stroud would throw for over 4,000 yards in a rookie season? Not many people.
No, true.
I mean, I have this game back and forth down to one of those down to the wire last possession type games. Because Houston seems to always
Okay.
make this wild card round, but they have a hard time finishing off a game, allowing the team to stick in it and wind up giving like a late field goal or something to lose the game. So I think again, the veteran quarterback finds some way to pull it out in the last minute because he has that experience that CJ Stroud wouldn't have in those type of games. So I'm saying it's only a field goal game either which way, but I'm
Mm-hmm.
leaning more towards the veteran with Flacco.
Okay. Fair enough.
And then the Saturday night game, you had the Miami Dolphins going to the Kansas City Chiefs. This one's interesting.
Okay. You want to start?
Sure.
We'll alternate.
So that sounds like a plan. So you finally you Tyreek Hill. You finally go back to Kansas City. Again, these two teams met early in the season. But if you remember, this game wasn't in Kansas City this year. This game was over in Germany. So this is
Right.
Tyreek Hill's first time back in Arrowhead since leaving to go to Miami. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So no Patrick Mahomes. Tyreek's not coming home to play with you. Wow, that just sounded fun. But as much as you say Mahomes and his team have struggled, they are the more seasoned playoff team. Mahomes finds ways to win playoff games when they matter the most. And the way Miami's defense is right now, you have 4 edge rushers right now questionable to even travel with the team for this game. So if you cannot get pressure on Mahomes, A, he's going to beat you with his arm some way or another. But then B, you're not going to be able to stop the run with Isaiah Pacheco. Miami, I'm sorry, you had
No,
a great run this
Is
season.
Pacheco cleared to play? Because I
I
know
think
he
so.
was banged up.
He's banged up. Edwards Helaire is banged up. But Mahomes can easily run the ball too.
True.
So, I mean, I got to give the edge to Mahomes. I hate to say that, but I think Kansas City finds a way to win this game.
Mm-hmm.
Just because of being more seasoned vets when it comes to this time of year. And you're home.
Yep. I agree. I think that Kansas City has had their struggles. I think that the fact that what you mentioned about Miami's defensive injuries is going to play a big part in this game. I think the Mahomes is just left to just pick this defense apart. I think that you see an extremely big dose of Mr. Kelsey. I think that he's going to be the key player in the game. And I think that he slices and dices this Miami defense to shreds. So, agreed. I will also take Kansas City in this one.
All right. Well, I'm writing this down real quick. And the next one, I think we both agree, is a pretty easy one to pick. The Pittsburgh Steelers traveling to Buffalo.
Yes. Josh Allen is hitting his stride right now. instead of finding ways to lose, as he was in the beginning of the season, and turning the ball over, he is protecting the ball and he's finding ways to win. I think that their confidence is at an all-time high. Gabe Davis, though, is possibly going to miss the game for Buffalo, the wide receiver.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that they still have enough weapons that I think that Buffalo will come out on top of this particular game just because of Josh Allen and his sheer desire to put this team on his back and make up for not only the disappointments of last year, but the momentum and the positivity that he's experiencing at the tail end of this year.
Fair enough.
Night, Matt.
Thanks for popping in. So, I get what you're saying with the whole Josh Allen thing, and I agree here. But you forgot to mention one big thing that Pittsburgh will be missing this weekend.
Okay.
Pittsburgh will be without T.J. Watt.
Yeah.
Who has a grade 1 MCL sprain, I think. I think that's right. No matter what it is, he's already been ruled out
PCL.
for this weekend.
I think it was PCL.
Okay.
I think.
It's one of the CLs.
Patella ligament.
But to me, that is an absolutely devastating blow to your defense. He is your best defender on the field at all times.
True.
I mean, so without him, you had basically no pressure because Hines Smith now becomes your focal point, and Buffalo is going to pick him apart. Watt adds another element to the defense that you have. So, we got someone on YouTube with a Pittsburgh comment. General boundaries. I think most Pittsburgh Steelers fans has accepted they're losing by 30. They're just happy to be there.
I mean, in a way, you really can't argue with that. I mean, I think that, 17 straight winning seasons for Mr. Tomlin. I think that they were happy to get in. And I think that, they drew they drew a tough draw in the first round.
That is true. I mean, thanks for the comment, General. That's pretty much spot on. I mean, that's a nice, easy way to put it. I mean, they will have Mason Rudolph as your QB1. So we already talked last week about the whole Kenny Pickett debacle. So yeah, I mean, Tom won 17 straight years with a winning record of above 500. It's mind blowing the success that coaches in Pittsburgh seem to have.
It really is.
So,
considering the fact that the team's only had 5 coaches in their entire existence,
what's that tell you?
Really is quite amazing in itself.
Absolutely. So yeah, that's a very good take. I hope I'm pronouncing that right, Ginwell. So I'm gonna go with Buffalo just based off what you said with the whole Josh Allen thing, making the plays when they matter the most. So Steelers fans would even take Cam Newton over the 3 dum-dums. Wow!
Oh, wow! That's
pretty bold, though.
Yeah,
Trubisky, Pickett, and the other one, the 3 dum-dums.
Nice. I like it. Good stuff.
Yeah. So I mean,
hey, I lived in Pittsburgh for a year that lasted about 5 years. It was only 1 year, but it seemed like 5.
Yeah.
And no, I was not a Steelers fan while I was there. I was just a transplanted Eagles fan, and I did find an Eagles bar.
There you
go.
So always one.
I moved there for work back in the day, and I lived there for a year.
Fair enough. All right, next on the list, if you want to add some comments on this one, General, please feel free. You had the Green Bay Packers traveling to Dallas. I am shocked that this is a Sunday 4 o'clock game. I figured that this would be like a prime time game somewhere because of Dallas being America's team.
Well, four
But
o'clock on Sunday is America's game.
yeah, you're right. Actually, you're right, and because it is on Fox too. So
Yep.
I mean, I hate to do it, but I just think Dallas has the edge. Jordan Love's going to put up his numbers. Don't get me wrong. It should be a closer game than people think because Dallas likes to keep games interesting. But you got to look at the experience. This is Jordan Love's first playoff game. Dak's been in this spot. Has he underperformed? Absolutely. But Dallas at home is a much different team than Dallas on the road. So if this game was
True.
up in Lambeau, I might be leaning the other way. But
True.
given the fact they're playing in Dallas, I mean, who knows? You might see another 31-28 game. That's how back and forth this game potentially has to be if Jordan Love holds his own. If Dallas's defense gets to him, then you're looking at a 35-10 game. But as much as it pains me to say, I got to go with Dallas on this one. Just based off the experience with the playoffs.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I agree with everything you said. If it was in Green Bay, I'd feel a lot different about it. I think that, I mean, as much as I think the potential is there for them to lose and follow the Dallas curse, and as much as I like Jordan Love and what he's been doing in Green Bay, I think the reality of the situation is that most of the smart money is going to go on to Dallas.
Dallas right now is minus 7.7.5. So,
But give me the Packers, baby. Yeah.
hey, Pat.
Give me the Packers. Dallas, welcome to the playoffs.
Well, Gamble said it probably be another Dallas last minute meltdown loss.
See, I told you we get smart people in here.
Oh, what do you think of Derrick Henry's fit in Dallas? People are saying that. Ooh,
Wow.
That's the answer to this before we move on.
Yeah. I mean, I would not be excited to see that happen because, unfortunately, I think that Derrick Henry is exactly the kind of running back they need in Dallas. And if as long as Derrick Henry is healthy, I think that he would add a dimension to their offense that they haven't had back there since Emmitt Smith.
Hey, same number, so it makes sense.
Yeah,
22 and 22. But, man,
that's a scary proposition right there.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And Jerry would probably pay for a guy like for Derrick Henry.
Yeah, I mean, that your analogy spot on it. I mean, it gives them a whole other element that they haven't had since an Emmitt Smith. I mean, three down back, losing back. God, I mean, that's been rumored for 2 years now about Derrick Henry going to Dallas.
Yeah, but here's another twist. Another rumor that's out.
Oh no.
How would Mr. Barkley look in Eagles green?
We don't pay running back though, and he's gonna want money.
Penn State guy. I mean, they're not going to break the bank on a long-term deal, but if he wants out of New York, he's going to have to be willing to accept less based on the current climate across the league with what running backs are being paid. But does Barkley want to chase that championship? Just like we just referred to Yeah, with
Derrick
Derrick Henry in Dallas.
Yeah, I mean,
I
I'll
think
put it to you this way: I could see Derrick Henry more in Dallas than I could see Saquon Barkley in Philly.
okay, fair.
Easy way to put it. Without, I mean, a player like Barkley is a game changer. So is Derrick Henry. They're both about the same age. Both have the same attribute: physical, three down back, can catch out of the backfield, so forth.
Barkley is more injury prone.
That's the downfall.
That's the one thing that could crush it.
Yeah.
Because I don't think they're gonna, if they're gonna pay, they would rather have somebody with the durability of a Derrick Henry than the fragility of a Saquon Barkley.
Yeah. Where Barkley ends up if he doesn't wind up in Philly, that is $1 million question that
Yeah.
I will definitely have to do some research on, because I'm sure there's a team out there that would pay him that money that he wants. And right now, the one that sticks out to me like a sore thumb,
Kansas City.
close. I was thinking the Las Vegas Raiders.
Yeah, but they got Josh Jacobs.
He was only on the franchise tag, wasn't he?
They can tag him again. Just like the Giants can tag Barkley again.
Yeah.
But I don't think they're going to, because he was ready to hold out after the last one.
I want to ask you guys something. I am a Chargers fan, and we're looking for a head coach. And you guys tell me about Brian Johnson, since he's been linked to us. Good luck.
Good luck. No, do not wish for Brian Johnson.
Yeah, if you're a Chargers fan, call your owner, get a pep rally going. Do not hire Brian Johnson.
He has not shown anything to say that he's A, ready for the position, or B, has any kind of innovation or creative thinking in his offensive play calling.
You said it best earlier. He's a vanilla style play caller. He is very dull. He is predictable.
Yes.
He does not know how to use his talent.
And he doesn't know how to make halftime adjustments.
Yeah. So whoever you have to call within the Chargers organization that
run away.
Tell him no.
No, we do not want Brian Johnson.
There's a buzzer. No. I don't know if they come out or not, but call your local congressman. Do not let the Chargers hire Brian Johnson. If they do, and you have season tickets, sell your tickets.
If you thought that your last coach was a nightmare,
hey, yeah, break the fax machine.
You ain't seen nothing yet.
Yeah. He has no idea. Break the fax machine.
I never got that contract offer. I'm sorry. It must have been a malfunction.
Yeah. You sure you
take the toner out. That's the thing. If you take the toner out, nobody will ever detect it. It'll still look like it's on.
Now we're giving out ideas how to corrupt contracts. I like this.
Correct. Yes. If it means making sure that Brian Johnson doesn't ruin another team, absolutely.
I'm all for it. What's the other thing? Don't break the fax machine. Disconnect your Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi is everything nowadays.
Yeah.
The next game, which I think, my opinion, is the game of the weekend. You have the LA Rams going to the Detroit Lions.
Whose turn is it? Mine or yours? It's mine.
Yep, go. Okay. You first.
All right. I hate that I have to pick this game. I like both of these teams. I think both of these teams are playing at a high level right now. I think that they both have heart. I think that they both have a lot of momentum. But my gut feeling is that with the challenges that Detroit have in their secondary, including CJ, and the problems that they've had all year in the back end, I think that Matt Stafford and Puka and Cooper Kupp run wild. I think that the Rams definitely is my pick here. I love Detroit. I'm a big fan of biting kneecaps, but I don't think they can stop this offense. And Kyron Williams, forget about it. He's only played half the year, and he's like the RB4 in the league.
Yeah,
And he missed half the year.
very, very true. Damn, man, we like to take the words out of each other's mouth. I gotta say that.
Yeah,
because you pretty much just took everything I was gonna say and ran with it, which is awesome. No, I gotta give the Rams advantage as well. I mean, it goes back to the Miami Kansas City game. LA are built for games like this. They are the more seasoned veteran team than a young team like Detroit. Sure, do I think it has the potential to be a back and forth shootout? Absolutely, because both of these offenses have the potential to be very explosive. But yes, Detroit is hosting the playoff game for the first time in years. I can't remember the last time Detroit had a home playoff game. I think they said it was like 1991, 92, somewhere around there. But I just think that the Rams are clicking on all cylinders right now. You have Stafford, you have a healthy Cup, you have a Puka who is a game changer right now. Kyron Williams, that Rams offense right now is clicking on all cylinders. So I'm calling it a shootout. I'm saying 42-39 or something like that.
I
It's
could
gonna be
see
what they
that.
call. It's gonna be a schoolgasm, as they call them. It's gonna be one of those schools that you've never seen before.
It's the second greatest show on turf.
And surprisingly, the over under is only 51.5. If I'm a betting man, I'm going
Over
over for sure. I'm putting this game in
for sure.
like the 80-point range. Both defenses are going to get exposed, twitched, whatever where you want to sum up into one. But I got to give the advantage to the wily vets that LA has. And
Yes.
most importantly, Matthew Stafford.
Who's won a Super Bowl.
Yes. But me and Ron both agree we love Detroit as an underdog team. So if they do win, we won't be mad.
No.
It'd be a good story going forward.
Yep.
But I just don't think they muster the same amount of gameplay as the Rams have. I mean, this game's going to be a shootout. And I can't wait to watch it because it's Sunday Night Football. So
it's definitely going to be a good game to watch.
Oh, yeah. I got my popcorn on order.
Nice.
All right. Now, we both know who we want for this last one, but I am going to break this game down still. You know what? I think the Detroitans will trade a soul to the Devils, and this sinks the Pistons. So they'll take a 5-77 Pistons just so the Lions can win. Go Detroit. I like this guy.
Yeah. Yep.
Plus, if you want to really go with the Detroitians, you might as well go with the whole state of Michigan right now because the Michigan Wolverines just winning the national championship. The state of Michigan right now might burn down, especially if the Detroit Lions win this coming Sunday.
Yeah.
Just say. So if you're in that area again, well, stay clear. Because it's going to be either A, a riot because they won and people are going to be going nuts because they haven't won a playoff game in years. Or B, you have a riot because it's going to be one of those close games that they feel like they got screwed out of again. And all hell's going to break loose. You might need Cop.
Yeah. Nice.
The OCP.
Yes. Good stuff.
Okay. And the last one on the list, you have the Philadelphia Dreadful Eagles going to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Well, I can't. I can't even pick against them. But you're first, so
Well, you for once we can always say that if you okay, I'm gonna I'll make you feel just a sec. What do you think of them banning Stafford shirts? I think that is BS. Detroit is putting a ban on people wearing Matthew Stafford Lions jerseys on Sunday night. I disagree with
That's
it.
that's ridiculous.
I would I would sneak one in. I would put a Stafford jersey on and then put someone else's on top of it. And when I'm in my seat and no one can see me, I'm taking that off. Stafford did that city wonders. Pardon my stuttered, but he built that city
Stafford
from the ground.
kept that team relevant when they had no business being relevant, and he was always, a top rated passer, even with the small amount of talent that he was given at the time. The team this year is eons above any team that Stafford ever had at his disposal, with guys like Montgomery and Gibbs and St. Brown, uh, leading the way. Reynolds. I think that, I don't think that that's any team should go in that direction. The only thing you're doing is you're showing that you're scared.
Yeah,
If my opinion, and oh, we don't want to make support Matt Stafford. You know,
that's true.
if you're scared by a dog,
Mm,
if I wear a jersey, it's not going to affect the outcome of the game.
no, agree. All right, so we got Tampa. Second time in 3 years for one. Last time you went down, you lost, but they also had Tom Brady, so you throw that out the window. But over the past 20 years, maybe 20, closer to 25 now, this matchup always seems to find its way in the wild card round.
Yep.
But in years past, Tampa Bay was always the one coming to Philly. Now it seems like it's the other way around.
Last game at the vet.
Yep. Don't
Oh,
want to talk about
Tampa
it.
Bay can't win if it's under 30 degrees.
Don't want to talk about it. But no,
You
I
remember
mean,
that whole hubbub?
yeah, I do. Trust me. I cried myself this week.
Yeah.
This game is a toss up. Even if you take how bad Philly's been and how mediocre Tampa Bay's been, Baker Mayfield's been playing some pretty good football this year. He's
Yeah.
definitely proved that he is a, like a Pro Bowl caliber quarterback. I mean, yes, does he still turn the ball over? Yes. Does he still make dumb plays? Yes. But you have two, I think, are the most underrated wide receivers in the entire league, and Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. Then you have a young running back and a Rashad White. Okay. And then your tight end who is K Dot, and you don't really use him, but still, like your offensive pieces are there to attack a weak Philly defense, especially with Mike Evans and Chris Godwin on the outside. That scares me.
True. Yep.
But that being said, though, like there's Philly, like Shalae's probably coming back this week. You're gonna have Fletcher Cox back in there, and so forth. But can you get pressure on Baker enough to make him make mistakes? That is the biggest key to this game. Is it
And
going to be
what's the
another
status of Smith and AJ Brown?
exactly? So if you don't have one of those two, sadly, I think you lose. If you don't have both of them, season's over. Pack up now. If you have at least one of them, then yes, Philly has that chance. They have that much more dynamic offense. But their defense is what scares me. So, like,
Yeah.
I really don't want to pick this game because I think it could go either which way. 'Cause I think it's
Mhm.
not what we saw back in week 3, but it's going to be one of those hard fought, battle of the trenches type of games. And that's where I give the edge to Philly because they have a kick ass offensive line when healthy and a kick ass defensive line when healthy. And they can push Tampa Bay around.
And it could be
So,
Jason Kelsey's last game.
and Brandon Graham, Fletcher Cox, I mean, a whole list of players. So
Yeah.
they're going to play
Well,
some
Fletch
inspired
Fletch
football.
says he expects to play next year. Might not be here, but he expects to play next year.
So if I'm taking Philly with this one or Tampa Bay, again, I feel it's gonna be a field goal game. What team can make that
Okay.
last stop to win the game?
Who's got the better
Uh,
kicker?
Philly does by far.
Yep.
So that's where my money is. Jake, please don't let me down, because if you do, I'm calling State Farm and having you fired. Jake from State Farm, get it? So I am taking Philly, but not by much. And I really hesitant to even do that.
I will agree with just about everything he said. I think he made some great points. But I also think that the status of Brown and Smith at wide receiver is going to be the key. I think
And
that every time that Jalen's been backed against the wall, he comes out swinging.
Yeah.
I think that Baker's had a good season, but he's Baker Mayfield. If you're going to tell me I have one game and you could pick who your quarterback's going to be, do you want Jalen Hurts or do you want Baker Mayfield? My answer is 100 out of 100. Give me Jalen Hurts. I think that he's feeling the pressure of this whole situation, this collapse. I think that he's taken it personal. I think now that AJ came out and cleared the air right before the last game, I think has given us at least a chance to pull it back together. I'm not saying it's absolute, because obviously they didn't pull it together in time to not get embarrassed this past Sunday. But I think that this is the playoffs, and if I'm going into the playoffs, I'm going to take Jalen Hurts. Absolutely. So I pick Philly as well. So, just to go back to comments. Best hurrah for Andy Reid. Do you buy the retirement news?
I personally haven't heard of anything. I can see if I can find something up real quick. But
Yeah.
If Andy Reid does end up going out after this season, first ballot Hall of Fame, hands down.
Oh yeah, absolutely, not a doubt.
I mean, the thing is, if I buy it or not, I would have to really look deeper into it. But hey, some coaches just say, "Okay, I had enough. I want to spend time with the family." You get that. You move on. Go ahead.
What would you say to this scenario? Bieniemy doesn't get the job, and then he gets approached by Kansas City to come back. Does he make the jump?
I would. I would absolutely, heartbeat. You built that offense from the ground up.
I think that would be the smartest move that he would ever make in his life. Is if Andy's retiring, Andy communicates with Bieniemy and they work something out, and he ends up leaving the situation he's about to get dumped into and come back home to his offense and the job that he deserved to have all along. He just had the happenstance of being behind a Hall of Fame coach.
Yeah, I mean, there definitely is a lot of places that I just typed in Andy Reid retirement. There's a lot of different stories.
Yeah.
I mean, who knows?
I mean, who are they going to hire? Mike Kafka? No.
That would be the next thing I would think, because you think about it, they have Kafka as an OC right now. So, I mean, It would
Correct.
stay in that same coaching tree. So,
Yeah, true.
but if they, I agree with that statement as well. I don't know if collectively Philly is due. I agree with that statement 100%.
Hey, guys here.
49ers
Yeah,
don't play this week. Come back next week.
you're on a bye. Yeah, actually, asking about the Vrabel fine, we were talking about that earlier, but um, Vrabel is the Patriots head coach, Belichick full-time GM. Well, the interesting story, like I mentioned this earlier, the interesting story that I saw today had Josh McDaniel going back to New England as offensive coordinator and associate head coach, and Belichick staying on and relinquishing his GM duties to somebody else. That was the story I read this afternoon.
All
But
right.
I think either one could be a possibility. I don't think Vrabel wants to go into a situation where he's got to look over his shoulder every minute and get
Or
second guessed on all his decisions.
how about this trio? Josh McDaniel, OC, associate head coach, Belichick, and Mike Vrabel as your defensive coordinator.
Yeah. And the gang's all together again.
Everyone can redeem themselves for the season, whatever happened with the collapse of the postseason. I mean, that is true. Belichick isn't going away anytime soon. Loves football too much. The only way I see him going away, guy, is if they move him upstairs.
Yeah.
Or
President of football operations.
yeah. But like teams like Washington have been interested in speaking with him. Carolina, Vegas was mentioned. I mean, could you see him ever leaving the Patriots to go be head coach somewhere else?
No, don't
Neither
see
do
it.
I.
I've always said that the only way that he stops coaching is if they kick him upstairs.
That is true.
Give him a title, pay him some money, and let him enjoy his retirement.
Yeah. I mean, it's going to be a very
Make him
fun and
he could be special advisor to the GM and director of football operations.
fair enough. I mean, it's just hard to force someone out who has helped your franchise so much in the 24 years he's been there to just say, okay, we're moving on, you're done. It doesn't happen like
It doesn't fit Kraft's MO.
that. No,
That's not how he's ever operated.
that is true. All right, on my football for a little bit. Let's switch some gears. What do you think?
Yeah, I think so.
I mean,
Yeah. Well, we
hour and
got all of
35
our
minutes.
picks, so yeah.
Yes. And we
Well, I mean,
disagree on.
there's a lot of storylines around this year's playoffs, so yeah,
There is, absolutely. I mean,
it all makes sense.
and we did it. I think we covered a lot of them.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a very exciting weekend to watch football. If you're a football fan, these 6 games this weekend are gonna be very fun to watch.
Yeah.
Harbaugh coming back to the NFL? Question mark. That I mean, Ron had mentioned earlier. If he does come back, it's only because the NCAA makes an example of him and like bombards him with sanctions. Because it had to piss off the NCAA last night with Michigan winning the national championship, hands down.
Absolutely.
Before we go any further, we're going to bring back a past segment that we had before. This segment is called Tessie's Take. I'm going to exit the studio, and Ron's going to either praise, rant, get mad, who knows, but the floor is going to be Ron's for the next however long he wants. But Stay tuned. We will be back in 1 second.
Okay. So before we get out of football talk, I got one thing. I have one question for the universe. And for a guy named Brad Allen, who's an NFL referee, for those of you who don't know. My question is, why in the hell do I know your name? Seriously. Why? The entire job of a referee, umpire, etc., is to be invisible. You're not part of the outcome of the game. You don't get to decide who wins and who loses. But yet this guy, back in week 13, Green Bay and the Chiefs, he blows a call on a pass interference. They don't call it. The Chiefs and the Packers game is decided by a referee. Then, Cowboys and the Lions. Lions drive down the field. Lions win the game. No. Because of Brad Allen. Oops, I made a mistake. Never says it publicly, but the NFL downgrades their officiating staff to exclude them from the playoffs. So that's the NFL's way of saying, hey, they messed up. We can't do anything about it, so we're going to do something ceremonial. Okay, but here, we're going to throw you a bone, Brad Allen. We're going to let you referee another game that has playoff implications. So they put him in the Steelers-Ravens game this past week. It's going to be their last game they're going to referee this year. And he calls a penalty against one team, and then starts to walk away, and somebody whispers in his ear, oh, you were supposed to call it on the other team. And then he reverses it, and he calls it against the other team in another key spot in the game with playoff implications. Why do I have to know your name, Brad Allen? Why? It's ridiculous. You look at guys like in baseball, like Joe West, who thought that he was bigger than the game, and he always had to be the center of attention. You had other baseball umpires that were very similar, like a Harry Wendelstadt or guys along that line. The point is, the fact that I even know their names is a problem in itself. Stop being the focus of the games. The players decide the games, not the referees. That's my take. I'm out.
Okay then. Brad Allen, stay the fuck out of Ron's way. I mean, you're right though. I mean,
Right.
has made some pretty bonehead calls the last couple weeks that have really screwed up some games. So, guys, like NHL referees are amazing.
Yeah, like Stickle in the Flyers Rangers.
Yeah,
Leon Stickle. Every Flyers fan knows his name.
that is true. And it's funny because I was actually going to bring up the Flyers tonight, if that's okay.
Yeah, big trade.
Yeah, I don't know if Guy follows the Flyers or not, but the Flyers shipped out the fifth overall pick from 2 years ago, Color Country, to the Anaheim Mighty Ducks for Driscoll and a second round pick next year. I mean, wow, I was blown away.
Right. Well, and the reason was he was playing in the junior hockey championships in Sweden, and he was kicking ass. and they were winning. So the Flyers sent some representatives over to show their support and to speak with him. He told them to get the hell away from him.
Yeah.
He didn't want anything to do with them. They flew to Sweden to support him. And he told them to pound sand. And that he didn't want to talk to him. And then they found a way to help him in that quest and shipped him out. And rightfully so.
Yeah.
Some of these Wunder kid, players that are overseas, they just, they get all full of themselves. And, they all think they're Wayne Gretzky. They're not.
It's true. I mean, I have it right here. I don't know if you heard any of Tortorella's press conference about it, but quite interesting.
Then we don't want you.
No, maybe start.
Danny said that Cutter didn't want to play here in Philadelphia and didn't want to play for the Flyers. What's your reaction to that?
Then we don't want you.
I believe you've met Cutter Gauthier before. Were you surprised that he?
I don't know Cutter from a hole in a wall, So, and I'm not too interested in talking about him. I'd rather talk about Jamie. He's the guy that's coming here.
Well, it was a long time coming. It's been going on for a while. We tried to give him space. We tried to get in touch with him many times. They would not communicate as far as the Gauthier side. So at some point we had to make a decision, and we thought with what happened just a few days ago, this was our time to probably get the highest value. Not very often you get the chance to find a Jamie Drysdale that you can add to your lineup. When that came about and his name was made available, we got really excited. It looked at us at the draft and told us he was built to be a Flyer, wanted to be a Flyer, and then a few months later told us that he didn't want to be a Flyer, didn't want to play for the Flyers. So in our mind at first, we said we have to protect him. We have to, because if he changes his mind again, and it's out there that he doesn't want to play, it's going to be tough for him to put the uniform on. But when we realized that they refused to talk to us, now it's been months, and he didn't want to be a Flyer, didn't want to be in Philadelphia. It was time to make it happen. It goes back. They told us when he came back from the World Championship last May, I believe.
See, I give Danny Briere a lot of credit for being a class act as he was. Someone like Tortorella, who's known to be very arrogant and cocky. You don't want to play for Philly? We don't want you. We don't care. Like that.
Well, I mean, they both basically said the same thing. They just packaged it different.
I mean, but like,
you don't want to be here. That's fine. Don't be here.
Yeah,
we're moving in one direction, and we're moving in this direction. If you don't want to move with us, then move off.
Yeah, because the biggest thing is he's been drafted now over 2 years and has yet to even sign an entry level contract.
Yep. And so you're right, guys. Nobody is Gretzky.
Absolutely. I hate how they compare Sidney Crosby to him. I mean, no.
Yeah.
It would take away Wayne's goals and he's still a leader in points all around. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he wasn't all about just scoring goals. Gretzky has, I think, more goals than assists, actually. Or assists than goals. I mean, they're pretty close numbers. I know that, but.
Well, look at the guys he was playing with, too. I mean, with so much talent on that Edmonton team.
Yeah, 1987. Other than me being bored, it was a sad year.
Yeah.
Because the Flyers lost in the Stanley Cup Finals to Edmonton Oilers that year.
Mm-hmm.
Yari
Curry and
Mark Howell.
Yeah.
Who else was on that team? I think Messier was on that team that year too.
Messier, yeah.
1987. Edmonton Oilers roster. Let's see. I can pull up the roster real quick. We had Let's see. There's some big names. Steve Dreiska, Jim Ennis, Grant Pugh is the goalie. Grexy, Kevin Lowe, Mark Messier. I mean, that team, it was just stacked. Bill Ranford was another goalie they had, who was a
Yeah.
big one back in the day. I mean, Mark Lamb, like you said, John Curry, Chris Joseph, Dave Hunter. I mean, yeah, that was a loaded team, and they proved it. They won the
It
cup
was.
that year.
Yep.
Because you think about division semis, they beat Winnipeg 4-1, then the division finals 4-0 over Calgary. The conference finals 4-1 over Detroit, who was also a powerhouse back in the late 80s. And then they swept the Boston Bruins 4-0. I mean, that's a pretty. So you figure in 16-2 in playoffs, that's pretty hard to do nowadays. I think the
Yep.
last team to do it like that was the Detroit Red Wings when they swept the Flyers 4-0 in 1996-97. I don't think they lost a playoff game that whole entire year.
Wow. Okay.
So I mean, I know you don't know much about hockey, but like
I know
I
a
just
little
had to
bit.
mention,
Not a
I
lot.
had to mention that Flyers trade because that was a pretty significant trade that you're going to trade the 5th overall pick from 2 years ago when he's not even in your system yet. And you get the
Mhm.
defenseman they got back is going to be great. Gray School is only 21 years old. He's a right-handed shot defenseman. He's going to be put on the top power play unit right away. He's going to be a good fit for Philly.
Agreed.
And who knows where that second round pick winds up? It could be a top 10 pick in the second round next year. You never know.
Yep.
So
True.
why hold on to someone who's going to become a cancer when you can move them and get some pieces that could help you now and down the road too?
Exactly.
So I mean, Sixers are off tonight. I thought they were playing, but tomorrow they play. They were playing down in Atlanta for the Hawks with no Joel Embiid, who, if you ask me, all of a sudden has been injury prone again this season.
Yeah.
He had the sprained ankle. Now he has knee swelling. I mean, he puts up monster numbers, but like he can't stay healthy. And I'm starting to get alarmed about it.
Yeah. A little bit of that is load management too, but they can't always call it that. So
That's true.
sometimes it has to be some little nagging thing that they don't have to justify just because of FanDuel.
True. And then my other 2 points about the NBA. One I just saw tonight, which was mind blowing, with the Miami Heat, and the other one, I think we might have sold the Clippers a little short. The
Okay.
LA Clippers are now 23-13. They're catching fire. They're working together. Who knows?
Yeah. Well,
Maybe the Beard finally got his wish. He's going to be on the championship team, but like they're in fourth place right now in a very tight West. I mean, but from where they started the season to now, I mean, it's night and day. It's pretty impressive, actually.
yeah, until it gets to be crunch time and Harden disappears like usual.
That is true. And then the Miami Heat thing I saw, you're going to be blown away when I tell you this one. Eric Spoelstra. He's the Miami Heat's head coach.
Okay.
He took over after Pat Riley retired, okay? Just tonight, signed an 8-year extension to remain with the head coach of the Miami Heat for the next 8 years, right?
Yeah.
$120 million extension
Wow.
for a head coach.
Wow.
It's the most committed money in North American coaching history to any coach of any professional level.
Mm-hmm. Isn't
You
Pat
got-
Riley still the GM there?
Yeah.
And I think this was a Pat Riley guy.
It was.
So
still,
I think that
120
maybe
to
Pat
get-
Riley's getting ready to ride off into the sunset. And he wanted to make sure his boy was taken care of.
But that's $15 million a year you're going to pay a coach.
Yeah.
Can I be a coach?
Well,
Can
They
you be a
got there
coach?
last year, and nobody expected them to be there.
That is true. I just saw that it popped up when we were doing this. I was like, what? Then I just looked it up again. I was like,
Yeah.
wow.
Guy, I think you're actually right on spot there with NBA players.
Divas.
NBA players run the league. The players, the inmates run the asylum. If they don't like a coach, they make sure he gets fired. If they want to play on a certain team, they do things that make that happen because they call where they go and who they get traded to. And, they call all the shots because they've got all the power. Hockey players have always been probably the ones with the lowest media presence. You don't see a lot of hockey players talking shit.
Except playoff
If
time.
anything, they just talk. They talk up themselves. They're not trash talking other teams usually, with a few exceptions.
Yeah,
but yeah, hockey is a team sport. NBA is an individual sport, in my opinion.
No, I would agree with that. And then moving over to the baseball side of things, I mean, Phillies haven't done much.
No.
But I am changing the name of the LA Dodgers, just so you know.
Okay.
They are now called the LA High Rollers.
Yeah.
Because my God. Shohei Ohtani first, the 10-year, $700 million deal. Then they get Yamamoto for 12 years, $325 million. Then they bring in Ryan Glasgow for another astronomical amount. And 3 players, they spent over $1 billion this year.
Yeah, but Ohtani's contract only is $2 million a year against the salary. Even though there's no salary cap in baseball, only $2 million a year is getting paid out to Ohtani. It's all deferred to the end of the contract.
Which kudos to him. I'm not saying it's a bad move, but still, you're guaranteeing that money out. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, but let me ask you this question. Okay, it's not the first time the Dodgers have spent money. Okay, yeah. The Mets and the Yankees have used the same formula in the past. Correct?
Correct.
Out of all those teams, how many of them won championships?
I just the one Yankees.
Yeah, exactly. The Mets were out of it by the All-Star game. Yeah, and they had one of the highest payrolls in the National League behind the Dodgers.
You're absolutely right. I'm not disagreeing here. I mean, money doesn't always buy championships, especially when it comes to MLB.
Not since Steinbrenner has money bought championships.
That is true. We finance your house to go to a Dodgers game this year. $20 a hot dog and shit.
Yeah. Well, that's true, but that's a lot of stadiums now. The prices are really starting to jump.
That is true. Let's see if I can find it.
But hey, at least you can get Chickies and Pete's crab fries at the stadium now. So
that is true. Do I have those pictures accessible?
And Manco and Manco Pizza.
Yeah.
Which they now have 5 separate stands in the stadium for Manco.
That's crazy.
There's not just one line. You can go different spots in the stadium.
Dang. See if I can find these real quick. I doubt I can. I'll have to maybe find them for next week. What's cool, I will give out the Dodgers credit though. Okay. I was out there in 2020 on vacation for my birthday. And I did all the different stadiums in that area. I saw Dodger Stadium, Anaheim Stadium, Patco, and stuff like that. The Dodgers have a team story out in center field. So no, actually right behind home plate, I lied. And it's up top of the stadium. They leave the center field gate wide open from 8 to 5 every single day. So if you're on your lunch break and something, you want to take a ride up to the stadium, you can literally walk right into the stadium, sit in the upper deck, and eat your lunch.
Really?
Yeah, tell me that ain't cool. That you can just walk into an MLB stadium freely and do something like that.
The No, the ice cream sundae out of the batting helmet is the best.
Oh yeah,
I
I have a couple of those.
Yeah, the ice cream was definitely, when I was a kid, that was the bomb.
I think I may
Ice
actually still
cream
have some of
sundae
those.
in a Phillies helmet.
I mean, you're never too old for ice cream out of a helmet. I mean, I still do it once in a while. Let's see. I'm getting close, I think, maybe. Dippin'
Dippin'
Dots, too,
Dots.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, man. I don't think I have these. What the heck? I thought I did. Oh, yes, I don't. But I have to save them from my phone or something next week. But, like, it's so cool that you can just walk into the stadium and do that. I thought it was awesome.
Yeah, that is pretty cool.
I mean, I of course, I had my Phillies shirt on that day as I'm taking pictures at Dodger Stadium. But, hey, I got to rub the wound a little bit. I was trying to find Matt Staver's home run ball, but I had no luck.
Nice.
Do you think J.J. McCarthy is a second or a third round pick? So we're talking about the Michigan quarterback who won the national championship. While his stock definitely rose for sure, do I think he's an elite passer, NFL ready? No. I think they need to groom him. I would probably put him
I would say
mid-second.
I would put him more towards the third round personally.
Yeah, mid-second, early third.
Yeah, late second, early third maybe. As a developmental project, because as John said, I think he still has a little bit to be fully ready to fully step into at the NFL level.
Yeah,
I think he was in a really
NFL.
good system. So in the right system, I think he could succeed. But just to walk off and walk in, I think that size is definitely going to be a concern for a lot of teams.
One of the guys,
Most teams are looking for that big Josh Allen type
yeah,
now.
that's a good analogy, though. He's another Bryce Young, when it comes to size.
Yeah. And we see how he did this year.
Yep. I will tell you, though, I like the Michigan running back. Blake Grum and Donovan Edwards went off last night.
Yeah.
Edwards especially. His first 2 carries were 2 40-plus yard touchdown runs. That game was over at halftime, you might as well say. The score didn't say it, but
Washington was not very good against the run all year.
yeah. They were just outmatched. I mean, start to finish last night, that game was all Michigan. From the highlights I've seen, I watched some of the game. I mean, it was just all Michigan.
Oh, he's a Tom's River guy. Now the truth comes out.
Who is? Tom, he's talking to McCarthy
The tailback.
or Grom. Hey, I'm off for it, man. I mean, no, not that one.
I'm a big Tom's River fan because that's where White Castle is.
What, Castle? Don't make me start singing the song. I will embarrass you.
Hey, as long as you send me a 30 pack, suitcase of sliders, I'm good.
All right.
You can
deal.
call me whatever you want. Where does Jimmy G go to next?
Ooh. That's another.
Oh, he's not going to
recruit.
start anywhere, I don't think.
Hey, he could if he goes back to the Patriots.
Yeah,
Oh,
possibility.
man. That would be an interesting scenario, but
Well, as long
where's
as you're
Jimmy
bringing,
G? Yeah.
the old, getting the old band back together, why not?
Yeah. He's going to be an actor, apparently. Okay. Where does Jimmy G go next? That is actually a really hard question to answer.
Yeah, until these playoffs finish and you start really seeing everybody who's declaring for the draft and see where all these quarterbacks are falling and how many of them are going to be actually NFL ready right out the gate. I think it's going to be a very small number. I think you're only
Very,
going to
very smart.
you're going to see maybe two that could possibly just walk onto a field.
Steelers.
You know,
I mean, Steelers might be the next quarterback factory. I mean, Philly apparently was at one point, so you never know. Same state.
I think the Steelers. I think the Steelers definitely are probably going to look to reestablishing their reputation uh, as a run centric offense. I think if they find the right running back, Najee Harris ain't the guy. I think
No,
if they find a guy who can, really establish like a Derrick Henry, I think Derrick Henry would be a great match in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
So if they were
Again,
willing to spend the money on a guy like Derrick Henry and really get back to that, run, power offense, I think that would be really play a good part in their getting them back on, towards the top.
that's true. Najee is a third down back. Sad to say. I mean, it's
Yeah.
not sad to say. It's the truth. I mean, they try to make him a 3 down back, and he's obviously not that. Now, if you want to
He's not.
use, go ahead.
No, he's just not durable enough. He's another guy who's, prone to ticky tack injuries.
Yep. And Zeke Elliott settled in well as a number 2 option. I agree with that statement 100%.
Yeah.
Elliott did a nice job this year as a backup. Yeah, he was a little sluggish to start, but the last couple of weeks of the season, he turned it on. He's still showing that he has something left.
When Stevenson went down, he was the perfect complement. He stepped in and he really rose to the occasion. I think that he did a great job filling in as the guy there in New England when Stevenson went down.
That is true. You got ordinary miss. Well, Warren is the man that got a lot of promise. I agree with that statement too.
Yep,
Pittsburgh is known almost like a Denver to groom running back. Jalen Warren
true.
is a good fit for Pittsburgh. We got the ordinary misfit, Joe, and Amber was that. Nice. Thank you both for stopping in. I want to give a special shout out to the ordinary misfit, so if I may, real quick. Okay.
Yep.
They were talking a little bit of football on their show last night, and started talking about our Philadelphia Eagles. And they said, "Hey, we don't want to speak too much because you're gonna round up the basement show and get them jumping in our chat, hooting and hollering about the Eagles." So I got wind of this. So I jumped into their podcast and said, "Yo, keep my podcast out of your mouth." So I mean, I don't know if that's Martin tonight, D2, or J. Cole. You guys are family here. We appreciate you stopping in.
Yeah,
But
we appreciate
keep my
you guys
podcast
stopping
out of
in.
your mouth.
We're just very passionate. That's what we are.
Oh, they know. They were being funny and busting my chop, so I had to swing back and do it. I'm just so disappointed with Eckler, but then we were just mismanaged. I agree.
Yeah.
Eckler was not used like he should be this year.
No, and that's
Also
why
coming off
I'll be curious to see who they put up in there to coach that team, because I think that Eckler is a talent. They just weren't using him the right way.
The basement show is good. John's got used everywhere. You can't deny that. And so I was at Dave and Buster's on Sunday. I was able to watch the game for a bit. What is up with the Eagles? Amber, to sum it up nice and easy for you, the Eagles are in disarray.
Correct.
I mean, that's a nice PG way of putting it. They flat out suck right now.
Okay, but here's the thing.
I'm listening.
With all the talk of the record went from here to here, that's fine. Right now, everybody is 0-0. So our season starts today.
Well, next Monday, but yeah.
And we'll see what happens. Well,
Sirianni lost the locker room. I disagree with that. I thought it at first.
So. Go ahead.
I thought it was that at first, but I would disagree that he's lost the locker room. I mean, you got banged up. Your defense was lackluster. You had two defensive coaches who didn't know what to do with the players they had. But you have a Ron Cardamillo, a Vanilla Mello offensive coordinator. You're not using the players to your capabilities and potential. Yes, AJ Brown sort of became a distraction, whining that he wanted the ball more. Devontae tripped a little bit, but yeah, Dallas Goddard out for 3-4 weeks. You haven't really used running backs like you should. I mean, it's the whole team.
You spent all your money on the offensive side of the ball. You let a TJ Edwards go, who was a solid middle linebacker, for N'Kobe Dean, who ended up barely playing this year. You had injuries. You had, Maddox go down, who was one of your keys in the secondary. You got, Slay goes down, and then, Bradbury and all this. I mean, you could make all kinds of excuses, but the problem is that when you intentionally skimp on one side of the ball and you just think that your offense is going to score so many points that it doesn't matter what your defense does, that's a dangerous attitude to come into a season with. And it ended up panning out exactly in the worst case scenario that it could have been.
That's why Cowboys rule. I disagree with that statement.
Yes.
Whoever is the Eagles GM, because I don't know, how could he have helped with this situation? Easy. Keep the home ground talent. You don't have to go out and buy all these free agents year after year after year. If you have someone like Ron just said, like a TJ Edwards, or some of these key young players who are up for contract, find a way to keep them in town. Let these players grow with you as a franchise. Don't have a rotational revolving door. Every 2 or 3 years, you're replacing your whole linebacking core. That doesn't work. Look at some of these teams that had longevity in the playoffs for years in the past. Like, look at a Brian Urlacher. Look at a Ray Lewis. They played their entire career with one team, and look how successful both those players were under said teams for their entire career.
Sorry, you said Ray Lewis. I had to throw it up.
I know. But you know what I'm saying, though.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that the main problem is that, sometimes Howie wants to make the big splash. And, the difference in what Edwards was asking for and what he walked and got was very, I mean, he did get a couple extra years. But I mean, he didn't get that much more money.
No.
They could have easily signed him.
Yeah.
And, they just didn't feel like they needed to make an investment on the defensive side of the ball because they were convinced that their offense was so good that they didn't need defense.
Yeah. Is Hoots going to play? Yes. AJ Brown talking
Yeah.
shit? Yes. Devontae Smith, bad ankle? Yes. Linebackers don't tackle or safeties. Fired a shell of himself. It's just so many damn injuries. Fired?
Yes.
The Byard trade right now is looking like a horrible trade.
Right.
Do you make that maybe 2-3 years ago? Yes. Kevin Byard, as much as you respect the player who has never missed a game in his national football career, is washed up. I don't think I've heard his name more than twice a game since he's come over.
But AJ did talk in a team meeting prior to the Giants game, prior to a couple days before, after a practice, and he apologized to the team for being a distraction. So he cleared the air with the team. So he's not really, when he came out and clarified, once he met with the team and he apologized to the team, and then he came out in the media and explained his, behavior, I think that went a long way to help, but I don't think that it fixed the problem.
It is true. And he was a guy, but seriously, I was disappointed for the first time all season I could watch. And it was 24-0 in the second quarter. 100% agree with that. I mean, it was a major, major, major letdown.
Yeah.
Still think you guys beat the Bucs though. Mayfield was hobbled last game. You have to get pressure on Mayfield because if not, he has two of the best underrated wide receivers in the game and will twitch you, hands down.
Yes.
Edwards leading his team in tackles, playing good ball, big loss, hands down. That was one of the biggest
Yeah.
losses we had this offseason was letting someone like Guy walk away. Like TJ walk away. I would have signed TJ to that contract every day of the week. Then
And you're right, Guy. Apologizing is one thing, executing is another. But I
Yeah.
mean, if you look at AJ's numbers this year compared to AJ's numbers last year, they're very similar.
let's see. I can
They're
pull it up real
they're
quick.
not that far apart.
All right. So last year, well, before we jump on that, I just realized you guys still have power. Seems everyone in the air is losing power from the rain. I have heard that, Amber. I am thankful I haven't lost power.
Yeah. We flashed once or twice here, but then we've been steady so far. Now, last couple hours, knock wood.
And I mean, we thank the Giants and especially you guys being poo-poo moved us up in the draft. You're welcome.
Nice.
I mean, that's coming from a Chargers fan. So, but AJ Brown last year, 88 receptions, 1,496 yards, 11 touchdowns. This year, 106 receptions, 1,456 yards, and only 7 touchdowns. So, about 20 more catches this year, 40 extra yards receiving, but he also got hurt the last game of the season and 4 less touchdowns.
Mm.
That tells
Yeah.
you that right there alone that it's a philosophy within the coaching staff that changed everything around this year.
Night, Amber. Have a good night. Thanks for popping in.
Yep, and Amber, always good to see you. I actually saw Amber at Wegmans today, so I was happy to see you in person.
Oh, cool.
But
Well,
has to
we just got to make one quick fantasy football announcement, and we're running over time tonight. So
wait. Does OBG get his ring number 2 this year? I mean, so he's putting the ship in Baltimore. If Lamar can come out and play like he played this year for a playoff game, absolutely. But if playoff Lamar shows up,
Yeah.
no.
yeah, playoff Lamar just has never got the job. So it'll remain to be seen. And I don't know how much of a factor OBJ can still be, but you know, he's
think
got
he
the
stepped up.
experience. He's been there before. So I mean, you got to give him a certain level of respect because he's been there. He's done it. But
Yeah.
I don't know. The Raven until I see playoff Lamar as opposed to regular season Lamar. You know, you got to say or have as good a shot as anybody, especially coming out of the AFC, unless my dark horse stays hot, and that's Mr. Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, you never know. Because they're the 2 seed, so they would have to wait till the AFC Championship game to play Baltimore if that's who progresses forward. But we'll see. But yes, Ron started saying it is unfortunately the last week of our fantasy football coverage. Next week we're going to swap out fantasy football and add wrestling into the conversation. So if you're a big WWE fan, AEW, New Japan, TNA, we're going to start talking more wrestling now that fantasy football is over. But Ron, do you want the honors? Or do you want me to?
No, I mean I will give you your props. The winner of our fantasy football league for the Basement Show for the first annual is Mr. Knast.
Second year.
This guy over here. He was the number 1 seed. He had the best record in the regular season, and he was successful in the final game this past week against Jaybirds. He tore it up this year, and congratulations are in order, sir. Good work by you.
I would like to thank my lovely wide receivers, Tyreek Hill and CD Lamb. I had Travis Etienne step up when I needed him the most. Mr. James Conner from the Arizona Cardinals. Mr. Justin Tucker, my 5th-round pick. I mean, I did something I figured something out very amazingly. At the end of the season, I still had 8 of my 16 draft picks in my starting lineup. So that is a pretty
Nice.
big accomplishment. I mean, to finish a year 12-2-1 and then run the table in the playoffs, I'll take it all year. I am running a thought in my mind for next year's draft. So if you are interested in joining a Basement Show Fantasy Football League, please hit us up. We are probably going to open up more spots or expand the league, maybe do 2 separate leagues, see how that works, and then see who would win like overall. So we'll go with that. But like,
Congrats, guy.
yeah, that's awesome, guy.
Got
Congrats on your championship as well. I mean, my cast league, I unfortunately came tied for second. I finished that league 11-6, but I finished 3rd place overall on points, so I will make some type of money, I think. But after this year, I am actually bailing out of that league and just going to focus on the Basement Show one next year, as I'll be running it more. Like I said, I have a big idea for next year's draft already, which is going to be kept a secret for a while. But if you're interested in joining us for a fantasy football league next year, hit me or Ron up. We'll get you signed up and have some fun with us, because it's just a lot of fun. Thank you, thank you. Had Jefferson and Lamb. Lucky little devil. That's a good combo too. I mean,
Yeah,
I was lucky enough to get Lamb and Tyreek Hill.
Yep.
So I mean, we're both lucky little devils, if you ask me.
Yep.
But going back to what he said before that, OBJ tore his ACL in the last Super Bowl he was in. He just needs to stay healthy, and Bills are a problem, no doubt. So OBJ does need to stay healthy, because Zay Flowers right now is banged up for Baltimore. So if he is banged up, someone like OBJ who has that
And no
playoff
Mark
experience,
Andrews. They're missing Mark Andrews a lot.
but likely he's been stepping up.
Yeah, I mean, he played well, but he's not Mark Andrews.
No, but no, I mean, tonight's been an awesome show. We had awesome interaction. Guy, Genwell, thank you for popping in on YouTube. That is awesome. Please like and subscribe over there on YouTube, so you can always come back and check us out during the week. We have a lot more to do. The Basement Show is not just a sports channel. Thursday night, we have Ladies' Night with Mama D and Miss Grimm. I almost called her Miss Shannon. She told me. Miss Grimm. Friday night, we have a mature show. We call it the Red Grimm Show, where pretty much anything goes. It is a rated X mature content show. And debuting this Saturday, we have a new gaming interactive night called Drago and Tink's Gaming Neverland. It's gonna be interesting how that one pans out, but I'm interested to see how that plays out too. But Flowers is young too. Don't know how he's gonna do on the big show. Well, luckily for Flowers, he can get healthy. They have the week off to wait and see who they play. I mean, they call this Super Wild Card Weekend for a reason, and it's going to be pretty wild. So,
Yep.
I don't know
Absolutely.
if you want to add anything else, Vaughn, but like, yeah, make sure you just like, follow, share, and come back and hang out with us.
Yeah, I mean, again, we thank you all for your support. We can't do it without you. We love the interaction, especially here on Sports Roundup. You guys are really knowledgeable fans, and you know your stuff. It's great to have a discussion. Sorry. It's great to have discussion with people that have passion for their own teams and have knowledge of the game in general. Really makes our job a lot easier.
Yeah, I mean, that's what this shows. All the shows that we do here between Sports Roundup, Ladies Night, the Red Grimm Show, the gaming show that we're starting Saturday, it is all about interaction. So, like, people that come in, hang out with us, and chat with us, chat it up, give us their takes, opinions, it helps a lot. I mean, if you can't catch one of the shows live, you can always go back and rewatch it. They'll save automatically on all the platforms, so you can go back and watch it. Hey, I know some people that go back and rewatch a replay, and they'll comment like they're watching the show, which is pretty cool. And then also, if you want, at the bottom, I'll leave this up for a quick second as we're wrapping things up again. But we also have now a Basement Show Discord channel. It has a server. You can contact me and Ron when we're not on the show. We have different channels for NFL, NBA, NHL. Ron's movie stream, because Ron's a big movie buff too. You think he knows sports? Talk to him about movies. But there's plenty in that Discord channel to go around. So please feel free to join us on Discord as well. And look who decided to show up at the very last minute.
Hey, Gary.
Mr. Gary, you wait 2.5 hours into our show to make your presence known. Dude, you know we start at 9 o'clock. Where you been? Oh, I got stuck at work.
We're just glad you're here, man. That's all that counts.
I know. Gary knows I love him. I like busting his chops. He's another big diehard Eagles fan for those who never seen Gary in chat. He's an Eagles fan, Flyers fan, Phillies fan, sports fan. He's one of our normals, and he knows I'm busting his chops. I hope he does. I'll get a message. Why you call me out like that on your show? I'm an open book, lots of expertise and a lot of stuff. You guys are great too. Well, Guy, we enjoy having you in chat.
Absolutely. Thanks, Guy. We appreciate you.
And I will tell you something, Guy.
You add a lot to our chat.
Guy, I will tell you one thing before you. Yeah, better late than never. You're right.
That is true,
Guy. I gotta tell Guy one thing real quick.
Okay.
Even though it might not come to foresight, because you have Green Bay beating Dallas. But if Dallas wins that and LA beats Detroit, Guy, I'd be concerned. The Rams are coming to Santa Clara, and that's going to be a dogfight for your team. Division games are always the hardest in the playoffs. Because if it shapes up the way we have some of these matchups predicted, you're going to have 2 division matchups in the divisional round of the playoffs. Because you would have Dallas and Philly, and the Rams in San Francisco. So we'll see. I mean, a lot will be determined next Monday night after the Philly game wraps up. But always concerned with the Rams. They know us well. I would be very, very concerned. I will put it that way. Do not sleep on the Rams. And Gary said he was napping. Well, good morning. Nice to see you. Thanks for popping in. I want to talk in my quiet voice so I don't disturb his nap. So anything else you want to add on?
No, I think that's it.
Okay. Gary, you go back to sleep now. He's
Have
got
a great
beat us
night,
up.
guys. We appreciate you. All of you.
Next show will be Thursday night, 9 p.m. with Miss Grimm and Miss Mama D for Ladies Night. Please feel to join in, jump in the chat, and support them as you support us. And then, like I said, we're here for you guys. I mean, it's awesome. Dallas will do Dallas things, so not worried.
I like that. Dallas will do Dallas things, so not worried.
Don't say do that. We might get summoned by a chat from Mr. Sheldon or Mr. Simmons. So,
Yeah.
and Gary said he's getting ready for work. Well, Gary, don't work too hard. Have a good night at work. And Basement Show will be live like again on Thursday night, 9 o'clock for Ladies Night. So till then, stay safe, stay dry, and hold on because you're going to get blown away.
And leave the light on before it, power goes out.
Yep. Charge your phones. Charge your phones.
Amen.
Good night.
Good night, everybody.
Your best behavior, turn your back on Mother Nature. Everybody wants to rule the world. It's my own design. It's my own remorse. Help me to decide. Help me make the most of freedom and of pleasure.
Oops. That's at the end stream. Sorry.